Well, it's time now for a look at today's business news, starting with the latest movements in the price of oil. Our business editor, Stephen Carroll, is here in studio with more.
Sharon, oil prices sliding for a second day today. This as fears that the latest wave of COVID-19 in China will hurt global demand. Some energy analysts estimating the lockdown in Shanghai could cut needs by 200,000 barrels a day. Let's take a look at the latest swing in oil prices that have been extremely volatile in recent months. Russia's invasion of Ukraine sent oil to its highest level since 2008. Subsequent moves have seen that barrel drop below $100 a barrel, but only briefly before climbing again in recent days. And we had a 7% slump in trading on Monday. Today, the slide is continuing. A barrel of Brent crude trading for $112 a barrel, WTI trading around $105 a barrel. Those prices, those falls slightly easing as the trading day has gone on here, but definitely still very vulnerable to volatility. In Brazil next, President Bolsonaro has sacked the head of the state-owned oil company amid rising fuel prices. Joaquim Silva Luna, a former Army Reserve general, was appointed to the job last year. Petrobras increased prices by around 20% in March due to the rising cost of oil on international markets. Brazil's energy ministry has proposed industry expert Adriano Pires to take up the job. Here in France, meanwhile, more consequences of high fuel prices. Hundreds of drivers for ride-hailing services like Uber staged protests on Monday seeking better protection from their increasing costs. They say their earnings have been severely hurt by the crisis, which has seen the price at the pump hit record highs. Leo McGuinn has the story.
A call to action as drivers for Uber and other ride-sharing apps striked across France on Monday and encouraged colleagues to do the same on Tuesday. They want more help from the companies they drive for.
In the eyes of the law, we exist, but in reality, we don't exist. The proof is here, there's no help. The platforms do what they want. They lower the prices when they want. They chose the wrong period. Normally in this period, they should show solidarity.
While fuel prices continue to skyrocket, Uber have offered a subsidy of €100 to their drivers. A fuel voucher will be offered to those who complete more than 50 trips per week. The sharp increase in fuel prices has affected drivers nationwide. This comes as France is set to introduce a subsidy, starting Friday, of 18 cents per litre, up from the initially proposed 15 cents. The price increase is showing no signs of stopping.
We buy less gas from Russia than from the Middle East for the United States, for example. But it will take a long time to implement, so it's likely to last.
With the French election just weeks away, the cost of living is expected to be a key factor in influencing voters. And whoever wins will have to deal with rising fuel prices for some time to come.
Ukraine's state-owned telecoms company has been hit with a massive cyber attack. The hack knocked out internet services provided by the firm for several hours on Monday. Ukrainian officials say the attack was successfully repelled. Monitoring service NetBlocks saying that connections were restored in the early hours of Tuesday morning. Let's take a look at what's happening on the stock markets next for you. European shares opening the day with some gains. This as investors feel optimistic about the prospect for progress in talks between Russia and Ukraine. Travel and leisure shares leading the gains at the start of trading today. We've also got gains on markets in Asia. The Nikkei in Tokyo rising as the Bank of Japan vowed to keep its monetary policy ultra loose, finishing up 1.10% in trading today. Just the Shanghai Composite there seeing some falls. In the United States, President Biden has unveiled his budget proposal for the coming year with increased funding for law enforcement and the military. The overall package is worth $5.8 trillion, but will require major negotiations before it can be passed through Congress. The budget also includes plans for a tax on billionaires. It will create a minimum 20% tax on households that are worth over $100 million. That's just 0.01% of American households. Crucially, the tax would apply to gains that haven't been realised on investments yet, so not just when they're sold, like is the current situation. The White House says this could reduce the government debt by $360 billion. Finally, for me, Walmart is to stop selling cigarettes at some of its stores in the United States. The world's largest retailer didn't say how many of its 5,000 outlets would be affected, but the Wall Street Journal reported the change would be implemented in California, Florida and New Mexico. According to Goldman Sachs, Walmart represents around 5% of annual cigarette sales in the US. Other retailers like Target and CVS stopped selling tobacco many years ago. Sharon.
Thank you for that, Stephen. That's our business editor, Stephen Carroll. Turning now